Hello, everyone. Welcome to You Know What I Mean. Like, I have a special guest from New York, and if I can go to New York come over me. So, thank you very much, Mike, to stay here on You Know What I Mean. Like, and could you tell us about your podcast?
It's called the Craichouse Podcast. I've been doing it for about 4 or 5 months already,
Yeah.
and I basically do a little bit of everything: talk movies, pop culture, sports, politics, everything. And for about the last month, I've been doing it with a friend of mine, Chris, and we just bounce stuff off each other. And like I said, it's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Craichouse Podcast, CRAICHOUSE, Crack House Podcast, and you can check it out everywhere. And we're on Instagram and as well as Twitter as well.
All right. So, you talk about in general stuff, politics and movies. So, for movies, what is your favorite one?
My favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
Ooh, it's a good one. Um, I would probably go with Jaws.
Jaws.
Jaws, yeah. I'm that old.
All right, yeah. The old movies is always the best one. And do you think it is the best one first?
The first one,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the original is the best one they made. Um, it. Let's put it this way: I'm almost 50, and I still hate to go in the water at the beach.
Hmm.
That's how much that movie scared me as a kid. It's one of the to me, it's one of the scariest movies ever made. Uh, I think it borrows heavily from like Alfred Hitchcock movies,
Yes.
where you don't see the shark till the end, but then uh, there's been a whole bunch of like stories and documentaries about the movie, and a lot of the reason you don't see that shark till the end is because that shark didn't work. The
Yeah.
mechanical shark they used. This is 1978, and it was before CGI and everything. So
Yeah, this is good. So for one thing that you said, you're scared of, on water. And so I am the same, but if you are close, you feel that kind of like fear. You don't want to go to swimming because you still feel like
yeah,
scared of the sharks.
yeah. You don't know what we don't know what's out there. You don't know what's floating around down there.
But even if the
I mean,
water
I
is
I
not on
watched
your,
I watched a show one time.
yeah.
I saw one of these like fishing reality shows,
Hmm.
and the guy had been a professional fisherman for about 30 years.
Yeah.
And he even said, he goes, "I'll never jump in the ocean." He goes, "That's their world. I'm in this world." He goes, "I'll
Yeah.
swim in a pool, but I'll never swim in the ocean. We're
So
dinner. We're food."
for me it's the same because when I started, so if the water is not clean, if I can't see
Yeah.
what it's I'm walking, and probably I would just like, oh, I don't want to go like there over there, because then I feel that kind of thing, like, I don't know, not only like a shark, but then different like creatures and on the ocean, and I was like, no, it's not for me. So, but horror movies, what is your favorite one if you like kind of horror movies?
Mm, This one's a little different, I guess. I mean, a lot of people go with like Halloween and things like that. Um, I kind of like the Alien movies because I think they're horror movies, but it's a horror movie in outer space.
Yeah, it's more of like sci-fi movies with
Sci-fi
aliens,
horror.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I
So
do like the original like Halloweens and those type of movies. They're tremendously entertaining and really good movies, and they were done really well.
do you
But I'll go
yeah,
with
sorry.
something like that.
Do you think that they made some kind of mistake for the last Halloween? So I heard that they are remaking, another one.
Well, it just seems. I mean, the franchise itself, I guess,
Mhm.
is such a moneymaker
Yeah,
that it's just every few years now they've just started up again. I mean, Rob
yeah,
Zombie did it, and then it was like 5 years before Rob Zombie did it. They had a few more Halloween movies out. So it's just something you can keep, I guess, rebooting the franchise to just make money. So I'm sure after this set of movies, another 5 years down the road, more Halloween movies are going to come out again. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for more Friday the 13th movies to come out too while they're at it, you know. But I guess whoever owns those movies hasn't decided to let anything go yet.
So, and what is your favorite part in the movies when you're excited? You know, in general, movies. So, like actions and something like a suspense or
Well, yeah, like a good like a suspenseful action movie.
yeah.
You mean like all right, say you're watching something like Die Hard.
Mhm.
I mean, the all the shootouts and is he gonna live? Is he gonna die? I mean, you know, there's a movie that keeps you at the edge of your seat most of the time. Any really good like action movies from the 80s and 90s. Um, those you know those scenes, those climactic scenes where it's good versus evil are
Yeah.
always something that's going to keep the viewer interested in a movie. You know, as long as it's done well. I mean, we've seen there's been tons of bad action movies made when no one cares, but those
Mhm.
good ones always shine out, good versus evil, and it really shows.
So just saying, because you said about the jaw first,
Yeah.
and have you ever watched Meg, the Meg?
No, I did not see it. I heard it was good.
Yeah, I don't few parts of the movie it's like it's not so good for me because I watched it twice.
Uh-huh.
But you know, I like these kind of movies with, you know, it's the same as Jurassic Park and dinosaurs or whales or jaws, like uh, sharks and in general stuff, you know, when they start making this kind of movies, I completely like. But in this one I was like, mm, so this is why I asked you if you watched it before, because you know I know that you are like like a better person to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, have you
You
ever
know,
seen? There's another shark movie. You ever see Deep Blue Sea?
oh, I love this movie.
Yes.
Was one
That was a
of
pretty good
my,
movie.
yes, was one of my second movie, you know, when I watched it. And then it was like, oh my god, it was this suspense and the same time that action in the movie, you know, when the actress was trying, you know, to survive, and then you know all that things happen, you know, and then was one of my favorite movie because uh wasn't like that kind of technology really old, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, it
when
had
I
just that
saw,
like yeah, all the sharks were like some of them were like CGI stuff, and it was
yeah,
just like the infancy of it.
yeah, when I saw like the old movies like now, and it's like one part I don't like and another part I'm just like, oh, this is good. You know, I've just tried to put in the time when they was creating, you know, all these part in the movies,
Yeah.
you know. And talking about like one of my favorite one now is Jurassic Park. So have you watched all the movies in Jurassic Park?
The only one I haven't seen is the last one, but I saw the first remake they made, which I thought was really good. And I've seen all the original, you know, the originals.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the first one in the movie theater when it came out.
I watched this one when I was like what, 6, 7 years old. I was in my neighbor's house, you know, and then I was like, I couldn't stop watching the screen, you know, because I didn't have TV. And then I was like, oh my god, I want everything that movie, you know, dinosaurs and everything. So the last one I watched um was 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 pretty good, you know. If you didn't watch, you know, you had to watch and then just like to try to compare, because the story kind of like it's all the same,
Yeah.
when they remake all these kind of movies. But what do you think about the first one? What is your like
Well,
favorite
they're all
part?
based off, what was it, the books by Michael Crichton. He
Yes.
wrote the book. Well, he wrote the book, and then I guess they just expanded off that. I thought it was great. I thought the first one, it was like that origin story, how they created them, the DNA. I mean, and it's true too. When that movie first came out, that's when like DNA
Yeah.
was big in the main, just started to come out in the mainstream, and everyone has a different DNA, and how they created it with the frogs and the sex and this. I thought it's done so well. The CGI stuff was amazing because that was like one of the first movies I think where they really used it. They used some life size stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I think a lot of it was all like you said, like we said, a lot of it was all CGI, and the action scenes they had in it were just amazing. And it was, like I said, really great story. The acting was great in it. The characters were great in it.
Oh, this is really good. So I know that you are really, really like a fan of sci-fi movies. So which one you recommend?
Best sci-fi movie?
Yeah.
Hmm. It could be Alien. I mean, the original gets a little outdated, but Alien's a sequel. They really
Mhm.
ramp it up. I mean, if you're gonna go science fiction, I also like Terminator 2. Now, Terminator 1 is good, sets it up for the sequel, but the second one, I think the action and the storyline was just amazing in it. I mean, that was another one. It came out in like 1990 or 91, where they just started playing around with the CGI stuff, and the
Yeah.
T-1000, the liquid metal. It really, really just it was amazing to watch that in a movie for the first time.
And in this move, them, if you had a chance to ask a character a question, what would it be?
A character from what? Any movie?
Yes.
Um, Maybe it would be ask the Terminator to uh, protect me forever. I'll reprogram and make him my Terminator.
Yeah, this is really good.
Have a bodyguard wherever I go.
Yeah, I want one as well. So just protect me. So, what did you like best about the like sci-fi movie?
Well, like the Terminator series just has great action. Um, like I said, the special effects were unreal for the time. Um, Schwarzenegger is actually good as a Terminator. Linda Hamilton's great in it. Um, like I said, just a lot of great action. I mean, a movie like that, you have to have, you're talking about going back in time, timelines, everything
Yeah.
else, and it's balanced out very well with the writing of the movie. And for a science fiction movie to have a great story as well as great acting and great special effects, you don't see that much, and
Yeah.
that's what that movie was able to do.
So, in general, about movies, did you learn about something from any movie?
What do you mean?
So, you're watching different movies, and then did you learn something for yourself watching that movie? I mean, in general, kind of movie.
Any kind of movie?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I learned in Jurassic Park, nature finds a way. That's what I learned. They were all female, but nature found a way.
Oh
So
yes,
I mean,
yeah,
you do learn something. Um, what was it? The Terminator. I guess I learned there's such a thing as liquid metal.
yeah.
Um,
But we can do that. Like,
we can't do that yet. And aliens can punch out of your stomach if they want to. They can breathe in your stomach and punch out and kill you and take over a whole ship and kill everyone you know.
yeah.
I've learned a few things. I guess I've learned a few things watching movies. And don't go swimming in the water because a shark will
I
eat you.
know, I know. all the time, just like I see something and I was like, oh, I want to, I want to go in holidays. And then I was like, oh, so probably not like so far on the beach, because then I don't want to swim in. So like, so have you ever seen the same movie more than once?
Oh yeah,
Which
I've probably
one?
watched Terminator 2 a bunch of times. I've probably seen Jaws 30 times at least.
So I'm a great fan of Titanic, but was like
Titanic.
my second one. I went in my family, my mom and sister and cousin. And so my mom was just like, all the time if I talk to her, and she just reminds me like, I don't understand, you could understand what they are talking about, and you were just like crying. I was like, yeah, because for me about the ship was like brilliant, and for someone like me, to watch something like massive, and then the effects and everything was there. They recreated all the
Yeah.
things, like the old things we had. And in 1970, we didn't have all that kind of things, in 1912,
Oh yeah, that movie was great.
and
For that, yeah.
and I was like, how they could do this kind of thing. And then in my head was like, so one massive ship like that just break and it's split in the middle. I was more like about the effects, about the
The scene when
massive,
it
like,
splits like that was amazing.
yeah,
Because you didn't. I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how it's. I mean, I guess from all accounts, people watching it.
yeah. And then what do you think about this movie? Like, not romantic, like part of, but the structure of the effects and all the kind of, like, I can say, like, the special effects, that they had to put.
Yeah.
Did you notice the mistakes of the movies, like, on this movie?
Well, what's the big? Isn't there a big mistake that what's his face, Brad Leo could have gotten on the piece of wood at the end? I don't know if that's a special effect or not, but I've heard that. I've heard that rumor. They've actually had like people reconfigure that piece of wood with the both of them on it. Like, why was she being
Was it kind of like
so
stupid?
selfish?
It is. It is.
They could have taken turns. They could have done something. I mean,
Yeah, would
I don't know,
would
but no,
would
I
be
didn't know
better.
how many. What are them? There's a lot of mistakes in there.
Yeah, I watched it before, kind of movies on YouTube, and people were talking about like what do you call that, Mandela effect, or that kind of people that they didn't believe in that thing that was happening before, but they should do something better, to
Mm-hmm.
save lives and so many other things. So, but when I start watching different movies on or videos on YouTube, talking about the mistakes on the movie, um, was like, in the beginning, when the actresses was like under the water, and then the whole group were there, and they was just like trying to figure out if she was alive or she is alive, and then it was kind of like a mix in your head, you know
Okay.
and part of, as well, in the back, when she tried, to jump, and then was like one or two mistakes there, because she could, like, you know fell off straight away and die, because for you to try to help someone with kind of dress would be a little bit different,
Uh,
I, and then it was like, for me, it's just like, why sometimes people just want, trying to figure out how it's this kind of things on in the movies,
Yeah.
It's like when you see a sci-fi movie, can you figure out what is the mistake in the movie?
I guess sometimes, like I think with like any kind of movie, not just science fiction, just any type of movies in general, you kind of, well, say a science fiction movie when they're doing timelines.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do something out of sequence, you kind of like pick it up, or you might just start questioning yourself throughout the movie. Like, why didn't, like I always say this about the Terminator movies.
Yeah.
In the first movie, they only sent back one Terminator, right?
Yes.
Why didn't they just send back like 3? Because there was nothing saying the machines were broken. If they would have sent back 3, she'd be dead in 10 minutes. The movie would have been over and we could have went home.
Yes.
There was no reason to, or the second one, they made it in T2, which is, like I said, one of my favorites. Why didn't they send back 2 T1000s? They only sent one again,
and one again.
They didn't learn from their mistakes. All of these movies, they only send back usually one. They send back a couple. They solve it in about 10 minutes.
So, do you expect something for this year, like a good sci-fi movie?
I haven't seen it. Like every now and then, I don't know if you do this, but I go on YouTube a lot and just type in trailers for like 2021, and it'll come up like official movie trailers. And I'll breeze through it every now and again, but nothing's really. I haven't done it in probably about a month or two, and I haven't seen anything that caught my eye that I really wanted to go see. And plus, not too with the state of everything. I mean, I don't know how bad COVID is over in Ireland right now, but I mean, we still have a lot of lockdown stuff over here. Movie theaters, I don't think have even said they're going to reopen yet. A lot of our stuff is all like streaming now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of movies I think too have been pushed off their openings. I'm trying to remember now. The one movie that was supposed to that I wanted to go see, I think it's been pushed off to September. And now I'm trying. I just drew a blank. I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
like a movie like Wonder Woman just went right to, HBO Max, and I saw that. I really didn't. It wasn't my cup of tea. I really didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's the James Bond one.
That was it. The James Bond one is off till like September, right, or something like that.
Yes, because
they just keep. I guess they've realized they're not that movie studios aren't going to make any money putting it out on the streaming service, or they're going to make half their money. They're not going to make hundreds of millions of dollars like they expect. And like you said, the James Bond one is such a revered franchise anyway. I don't think they want to just put it out on a streaming service. They want it out in the theaters. So I'm sure they're just going to keep postponing it, and we'll see what happens. And I also heard too, with that James Bond movie, they're actually reshooting scenes to make it like COVID relevant. So I don't know if there's going to be scenes with people in masks and whatever, and maybe people get it. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I've heard that I heard the movie is being made as like relevant to living in a COVID society.
Yeah, but they are trying, because the first time I saw on the news, and they try to put, like for March or something, and then they stopped filming, and they went to do something different on the movie, and now it's in September. But was like trying to to push like 3 times, just like it's not like ready yet, but I don't know what they want to do.
I also just heard something recently. They for the movie, technology got updated in the sense, I think it was the phones.
Yes.
The phone he used in the beginning, like say it was like an iPhone 10 and now it's an iPhone 11's out, and they're supposedly reshooting scenes now with the new phone, because it's all like product placement, like what they do in movies. So it's I've like also heard, they were talking about that. I heard that on
things, like
a podcast the other day, that they reshot a whole bunch of scenes with new product placement things, and one of them was the phone.
Yeah. So, The Invisible Man, Have you
Yes.
watched it?
The new one?
Yeah. So the new
I
one
saw bits and pieces.
I didn't
I
watch it
saw
yet.
I remember watching Hollow Man. I don't know
Yes.
if you remember that. That was with Kevin Bacon. That was a good one. But the new Invisible Man, I didn't see the original. And then there's the original from like the 30s or whatever. Chevy Chase did one, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. I
Yes,
don't know if you ever seen that
I
one,
watched that one.
which was kind of funny. But
Yeah, it wasn't
it wasn't a bad little story. You know, it
yeah.
was something. Most of those movies are always like serious and everything like that, and this kind of like a lighthearted comedy with a little action and drama at the end of it.
Yeah. So Tomorrowland Award Beyond. What have you ever watched this one with like what do you call the actress? Oh my god. It's like this one, it's like a dimension in time and space, and then
Tomorrowland.
yes.
Oh, that was the George Clooney thing.
Yeah,
I heard it was a bomb. I heard it was a stinker of a movie.
because I didn't watch, and then I was like, oh, I want to watch just like to see, like
I
about
heard it was
pieces
horrible.
of
I heard it
the.
was very horrible. That's what I heard about it. I never watched it. I heard that was a movie. I think Disney lost like $100 million on that movie.
Oh my god.
Like it was that bad.
So when you read something or when you hear something about it that it's not good, so you try to watch the movie to make the sense and what they are doing with that movie, or you don't bother and then you don't want to watch.
It depends. If I really want to watch, like I watched the last Terminator that came out just recently last year, and it got horrible reviews. But I probably sat through about half of the movie before I just shut it off. I didn't enjoy it that much. It really wasn't my cup of tea. I thought it just wasn't that good. But I mean, there are times if it's something I really want to see, I'm gonna watch it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But if I start reading like, don't even bother, this is horrible, and sometimes I'll just hate watch something.
Yeah,
that's a word we use over here. Hate watch. Like I want to hate it while I watch it, and I've done that too. So, but yeah, the reviews, I really don't go by movie reviews that much. If I want to see something, I'm gonna see it. If another Terminator movie comes out in 3 years, I know this one was horrible. Who knows what they do with this one? I might watch it again. Even if it gets bad reviews, I might watch it. So I mean, it really depends. If I'm on the fence about something, if someone like I like that reviews movie says it's horrible, maybe then I won't. Or I'll just turn it on. I've done this too. I don't know if you do this. You ever just turn a movie on and you're just doing stuff around your house?
all the time,
casually watching.
Now I'm doing that now, because sometimes I don't want to sit down to watch and pay attention. It's kind of like just in the background, and then they are just like talking and I'm doing something else, because sometimes I need to read the description of the movie, but needs to have something really, really like good that catch me. This is really, really good, and I will sit down to pay attention, and I really want to watch. But it's like now that we don't have so many things on Netflix, and
that's the whole thing too. There's 1,000. I don't know about you, but how many friends do you have say you have to watch this movie? You have to watch this movie, and now you got a list of like 30 things to watch, and you don't get to any of them. So now you will do that. You'll just turn something on, and if it finally catches your imagination or attention, then you'll pay attention to it more.
So I am eclectic, like for general movies, but I asked you before about horror movies. I'm not like a great fan, because I hate watch these kind of movies, you know, because I know that thing will stick in my head, and probably I won't sleep like for nights, you know,
Uh-huh.
because I know that like monsters, and even when it's something really bad like ghosts or like witches, or you know, like really really bad, um and demons, you know, I completely hate, you know, when people just like talk so many things. So my first movie was like that one that everyone knows about, the girl, you know, like the exorcist.
Yeah.
So the first one, because I was at home on my own, and my cousin just like, you know, rent the tape, the VHS, and he bought to watch. And I was like, what I'm doing here. So since then he started scaring me, you know. But I watch sometimes like, you know, different movies, because my partner, he likes this kind of paranormal stuff, you know, and
Well,
some,
it seems like a lot of horror movies are delving that
yeah,
direction now. It's all
yeah,
like, I can talk to the other side and something. It's a lot more of like the possessions of a doll or a toy, or
yeah. So the Annabelle I watched, and
I saw
the
that one. Yeah, that was a
the
creepy movie.
it is, and then the others too as well, that they were talking about, like when everything happened and it started, about, you know, about the couple that they were just like trying to discover. But I was like, well, I was in the theater and I watched all movies, and the Nun as well. So watch the Nun.
Yes.
This one, I think it's the worst one, because you know it's really strong. So for me, I was like, I had to close my eyes like 3 times. But I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling like okay here. I just want to run. But so sometimes I just, there's something when it's like horror movies that I don't like. But if I read the description, and then there's something that stick me like in the movie, I want to watch. I want to know, you know, even if it's like, do you believe in this kind of things, like ghosts and
No.
paranormal stuff? But do you like to watch horror movies?
Yeah, I like those type of movies. To me, aren't like almost like not horror movies. They're almost they don't scare me in the sense of like they more like creep you out.
Hmm.
Like, ooh, well, the doll coming to life. To me, a doll coming to life isn't scary, but it's like it's just creep. And the way they always shoot those movies, they're very dark, and
Yeah.
a lot of shadow and stuff, and empty houses, and but yeah, I don't feel like those movies I get that scared. It's just more it's more creepier than scary. So
So sometimes, like when people watch something, so what is your reaction in general movies? It's like, when you mention that sometimes you don't like the movie. So what
yeah,
is your first reaction if you put something that is like, oh, I don't I don't want to watch, but you stop in the middle, or you just like, you start complaining about something, and then you just like want to send a massive text for someone, just like saying
don't
something
watch
bad about
this.
the movie.
I I'll usually bounce it off like a few like saying I just saw this movie. Don't watch it. Don't watch this movie. It's horrible. Or I'll say, did you see this movie yet? And if they say yeah, we'll just sit down and talk about how horrible the movie was. Or it'll be like, how long did you last? Because I only gave it about 30 minutes before I shut it off. And one guy, no, you got to watch it till the end because it gets even worse. So I yeah, I usually if I watch something really horrible, I will definitely tell someone about it, and I'll tell them you
If,
have to. Sometimes I'll say you have to watch it. It's that bad.
yeah. So the You are that person. If someone didn't watch like the movie and you watch it,
Uh-huh.
you talk about the movie
I try
or
not to. Like if it's a spoiler alert, no, I
yeah.
wouldn't, I always just say this, go watch the movie. Go watch it. I'm not gonna well, there's this guy, I'm not gonna say anything. I always say that. But once they see your body language, sometimes like, oh, this guy dies. Oh, why did you
And you start like talking about the
well, I didn't mean I always say I'll ask friends this. Do you want to know? I will preface sometimes
it
movie
is.
conversations like that. Like, do you really want to know? And if they say yes, I'll tell them the entire movie.
I know
And I've had friends tell
what
me the same thing. Do you really
sometimes.
want to know? Yeah, because I'm probably not going to watch it for 3 weeks anyway. So let me know.
Yeah,
Why not?
or probably like you don't want to watch, because
Yeah.
then if the movie it's not like what you're waiting for,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone, your friends or someone just say like about the movie and you're just like, oh, I knew it. It's kind of that feeling like, oh, I knew it. I don't want to watch. So have you ever watched Lucy?
I Love Lucy.
No, it's
Oh, yeah. I know. I did not see that one.
no.
No.
So you really need to watch them. I like this, this kind of sci-fi and at the same time
Yeah.
technology thing, and that involves like human and and machine, but and then it
Biotechnic
yeah,
thing.
and it
Yeah.
you try kind of like to figure out what is the real and what is not, you know, in the movie. But
Mm-hmm.
this is one movie that it's like probably until the middle of the movie you know what is going on, and you're just like anxious, to figure out. But I so it's like 10 for this movie for me, but I can't say the rest because it's like
Go
I'm
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
doing kind of like, your friends. Do you want to know? No, I don't want to tell you. So the X Machine, it's like
Yeah.
the
I
X
remember
Machine.
that.
I
Yeah.
think it's the Will Smith. I don't know.
Oh
It's
no.
like
iRobot. The
yeah,
Will
but
Smith one?
the X Machine. I don't know who plays the character. I don't know because it's kind of like different movies and sci-fi movies. I just like, oh, the last one I think I watched was the iRobot and artificial intelligence. But this is a long, long time ago. This
AI, yeah,
this
that's a
yeah,
old
this is a
old
really
movie.
old movie. And then I was like, it's more like kind of for kid. It's not like
Yeah.
the story. It's like it's a little bit like
That's a very long movie too, that AI. It's done very well. It's a what is it, Steven Spielberg movie, but it's such a I think it's like a 3 hour movie.
yeah.
If I
It,
remember correctly. I think it's like 3 hours and it spans like hundreds of years too, because the kid's a robot and comes back to life
yeah.
and they regenerate yeah, it's a
And
very good movie.
for you, how do you think in this aspect sometimes how the directors they have all these massive thoughts to create these kind of movies? It's like how they think about like aliens and the robots, you know, how for you how they think about it.
Well, I think with like science fiction movies like that, it all comes down to the writing of the movie, the person who
Mhm.
created it. Like, I mean, we'll go back to Terminator because it's the only one I can think of. I think it's written also by James Cameron. He directed it, but it was his vision.
Yeah.
He wrote it, and then it was his vision to put on the screen. I think the same way with Aliens, he had a hand in writing that. He didn't. I don't know if he wrote the original one, but he did the sequel, which is one of those movies where the sequel really is a lot better than the original. It puts that whole that franchise on the map. The first one was very good, but the second one just really elevated the franchise, and it makes those other, I think, 2 or 3 other sequels and the Prometheus movie, how it all just
Yeah.
ties in. If that sequel, Alien 2, isn't a very good, isn't a great movie, you don't get the rest of those movies. It'll die right there. And yeah, so I think it all starts with who's ever writing the movie. The writer of that movie has to have the vision and then work with either the director or they direct the movie themselves.
Yeah. So the Predator, what do you think about this movie?
What do I think about them? I think it's a great movie. Do you know who the original Predator was?
Oh, I don't remember.
It was the movie was, the Predator is like this 7-foot alien thing.
Yeah.
In the movie. Originally, they hired a yet unknown actor, karate guy, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was the original Predator. They had some scenes done with him. He found out later that his face was going to be covered in the alien mask and they wouldn't see his face.
Mm-hmm.
And he freaked out and quit the movie.
I didn't know
and
that.
And then they replaced him with Kevin Peter Hall played the alien, who's like, he's like a 6'10" black guy. He was also Harry and the Hendersons. He was Bigfoot, and I think he's one of the aliens in Alien. He was just one of those tall guys, and they just threw him in suits. And he was one. He wound up taking over as the Predator.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. It's a great storyline for a movie where it's, it's a sci-fi action movie that actually takes place on Earth, not in space, which was really great. The jungle was a great backdrop for that movie.
Yeah, I watched another one as well, but it was kind of like Aliens versus Cowboys, I think. In the space.
Cowboys and Aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, for me, I didn't like because I wasn't like fan of this kind of like 2 different words with like aliens and something else. For me, it's like if the movie it's just like aliens, okay, just go there like normal people, and then the aliens is coming down to Earth and everyone trying, to kill them or to hold them and put in the jail, or some like CSI try to just like to study these creatures. But for me, Cowboys in the space is like with the aliens, and I was like,
I think too that movie's based off, I think, a series of comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And that was right when I think when that came out, that was right when like Iron Man and the Batman series was still going on. So I think they were trying to cash in on comic book movies.
Yeah.
I don't think it did that well. It is a weird genre, 2 genres to mix like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's someone in a studio right now that's probably thinking if they own the rights to it, they'll figure out a way to reboot it in about another 2 or 3 years, and there'll be another one that'll come out and they'll try and do it a little better. But who knows?
So for you, do you think these movies, sci-fi movies, it's like addicted?
Sometimes there is some like if there's a science fiction movie I want to watch, I'll make sure I watch it. I don't say I'm that addicted to it. I just enjoy. I guess I just enjoy watching them. I was a fan. Like, I'm not a huge fan of like the old Star Trek TV show,
Mm-hmm.
but the movies that came out I thought were great.
Yeah.
Going back to the original movies and the last 2 that came out, I thought they were both done very well. I just enjoy something that's usually like a different type of story,
So
and that's a lot of times what sci-fi is. It's a different take on something.
yeah. So do you like foreign movies?
Um,
Or
Not too
have
much
you
because I don't like to read.
to read?
I don't want to
But
read a movie.
if they have, the
Sometimes
audio,
if it's dubbed, I'll watch
yes.
it. Like, I mean, I remember I used to watch the old like John Woo movies,
Hmm.
who did all those action movies in the late '80s and early '90s before he became huge in America. He
Yeah.
did all those Hong Kong action movies, and you used to be able to rent them here, and they weren't subtitled, they were dubbed, so that made it enjoyable at least. And that's when he used who was it? Chow Yun Fat was like his main go-to guy in all of those movies.
So um when it's kind of like not actions, but how can I say that? It's like Japanese and Chinese movies. It's like um how can I say it? Kind of like can be action sometimes, but
Yeah.
you know, do you like one of these kind of movies? Like Japanese, Chinese movies?
Um. Yeah, I do. I like like the action kind of movies I'll watch. Um. I mean, a lot of those horror movies that we were talking about earlier are all
Mhm.
based on like old Japanese movies from like 10 years ago. Like remember the Ring was originally
Yeah.
Japanese, and all of those type of movies. So yeah, I will watch them. Um, I also like watching those movies. Like I said, as long as they're dubbed, I'll watch a movie. Like there's a movie Parasite that just came out a couple of years ago that everyone, and I heard that's kind of like a horror movie comedy, but I haven't seen it yet because it's subtitled, it's not dubbed, and I just have to like sit down and concentrate and watch the movie and read.
Yeah, now for me, yeah, I'm just watching movies like from America or from here, and now like couple of series as well on Netflix, like The Fall, with
Hmm.
Julia Under and oh my God, Julia Andrews. I was like, what her name? And and I was like, because there's nothing else to watch, but in my own language, like my mother tongue, Portuguese, I'm not watching anything at all. So all the movies that I have been watching, you know, like 3 4 months ago, yeah. So they made a Christmas, a Christmas one,
Hmm.
and I watched it with my partner, but he had to read all the subtitle, and I was like, he was laughing because of probably one or two words in English, but I was like, there is for me, there's nothing like interesting because so it's not like a Hollywood movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
And
well, I
then
mean, I think too with everything that went on the last year in the world, it just like killed it. Like everything got grinded to a halt, like movie
yeah,
wise, and you kind of like, oh, it's just on Netflix. Oh, I can watch it whenever I want. There's no, you know what it is. There's no more rush to want to see something anymore. It's like I can watch this
no,
movie whenever I want to. Like
yeah,
I'll wait till next week. I
since
can. I mean, like we have, when I was a kid, you had to like put a tape in a VCR, set a timer, and record it. Now you
yeah,
just hit a couple of buttons on a DVR and you own it forever, or you buy it, you own it forever, and you'll watch it at whenever you want. You want to watch 10 minutes of it and then catch the other 25 minutes of it later. You just watch it in bits and pieces.
yeah. Like before, it was just waiting, probably 1 2 years until the movie would be like released in the date or month or you know
Yeah.
and now you just like one click you are watching
One. Yep.
all the movies that you want, even for those that they try, to protect the copyrights or something,
Yeah.
but then it's in your hand, it's like not in your hands, but it's in your computer.
Yeah, it's so think
It's
about it.
like-
I could take my laptop and go anywhere and watch whatever I want.
so for you now on this lockdown, so how do you uh how do you feel, and at the same time, what are you doing most, like, with your time, you know
Um, basically just home. There's some movies I'll watch or podcasts that I'll listen to,
mhm.
and that'll be like my day. That's like my regimen during the day, and doing stuff around the house, cleaning, whatever I'm doing, laundry, walk the dog, something, you know. But
And
it's been very boring,
I know.
to say the least.
So in all the movies that you have watched before, you're still watching, because there's nothing else to
Yeah, if
watch.
there's something to catch up on, something I haven't seen. Um, I actually just watched. What did I just watch? I watched a little documentary on HBO
Mhm.
called "The Lady in the Dale."
No,
That
I
it was like
didn't.
it was like a true story documentary about um, a guy who was kind of like a swindler. He wrote people out of money, and
Yeah.
then while he was doing that, became trans, and then went on the run, got caught, went back to jail, got out of jail. It was a very weird story I'd never heard of. It took place out in California, like in the early 1970s. And I think it wound up going to like the late 80s when they finally caught the person. But it was a very interesting story. It's a 4-part series. It's on HBO Max actually, and that was like one of the last things I've seen that I like watched in the last probably couple of weeks.
Yeah, for me here, it's like I'm watching everything. So even like Housewives sometimes, because there's completely nothing. And then,
Oh, do they
because
have like Real Housewives of Ireland there?
no,
No,
no, probably would be boring. So
probably.
it would be kind of
Go
like,
shopping, go to church, make dinner, and go to bed.
yeah, like drink a lot and
Yeah,
fight on the street, scream on the street, and that's it, because sometimes people over here, they tend, to be like, they don't want to show themselves, who they are
yeah.
completely. They're just like for themselves. But but this is why I'm watching, sometimes Housewives of Atlanta or New Jersey, or because when people wants to fight and wants to argue and they don't.
Reality TV.
I
Are there a
know.
lot of Irish? But are there like a lot of Irish reality shows over there,
Yeah, we have.
or do you watch more of the American reality shows?
No, we have here, uh english one
Yeah,
or Irish one, but the most, it's American one, like movies or like series. We have more than like, I think for something that you want to watch, like kind of fiction,
uh-huh.
we watch more like Americans, but the
Okay.
real kind of uh like murder or these kind of like, you know the police and someone that killed like more than 25, 70 years ago, we have more this kind of reality,
Yeah, that
something that,
Netflix does a lot of the British like serial killer or murder shows are in
yeah,
America. Yeah, they have a lot of. They just had the one. What was it? The Ripper was a big
yeah,
one here.
I watched the last week,
Yeah.
and we were trying to figure out, like when I watch this kind of series, I like stay there because it was like, why this happening and why people around they don't know
Yeah.
who the person is, and we had one in UK, but the killer was an old man, was like 70 something years old, was killing like old ladies, and I was like, why nobody know about these
Yeah.
people, you know but it's not like it's a good kind of way, to show the reality when what's happening before. So it's the same, the Cecil Hotel.
I
So it's
just watched
on
that. Now,
Netflix.
do you remember when that happened? I remember when it was kind of like a big story here when it happened,
Yeah,
and then it just went away. It was big for like a couple of weeks. They found her. Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched it
Okay.
the whole
I'm not
thing.
going to give away too
It's
much, but
like
she is found, and then the story just went away. And as you're watching it, I thought it was very good. And I like those documentaries now where it's like 4 episodes, not 10. You really don't
yeah,
have to, it was done. It's 4 hours, basically. You can get it done in a day and a half if you want to, take your time with it. And I did think it was really well, but I thought what eventually you found out about it halfway through the documentary, I kind of like figured it out.
you just
You
yes.
kind of like figured the way the way the story was going, you kind of figured it out. But it is a great watch to see. I think it's called Crime Scene at the Cecil Hotel. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like this one was like you don't need to think.